All right, welcome to One Nation of Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. I am your host, Kirk DeMars, and I'm so glad you guys could join us tonight. I know it's a little bit warm outside, but you know what? We got some rain yesterday. We really needed that. The only thing I never like about rain, of course, is then you have to go back and mow the grass. So, not looking forward to that when it's going to be growing again. But uh, it is a little bit humid outside. And you know what, though? For people like who we're having on tonight, Danielle Buker, it doesn't matter to her. She's out there competing in whatever the weather is, whatever the sport. She's just out there competing. So you're going to enjoy the interview that we have with Danielle tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot of different things that most of us probably just cannot do. And so it's good to be able to cheer on and watch and support those that can. So without any further ado, I am going to go ahead and bring Danielle onto the program here real quick. Danielle, welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah,
Appreciate the opportunity.
well, you are somebody that I would say at most times would probably be hard to get a hold of just because of all the different things that you do.
That is indeed correct. Yeah,
Yes.
you got me at the perfect time.
All right. Well, good, good. And people can tell that just by all the different medals that you have lined up behind you there. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but you keep yourself pretty busy.
For
Uh,
sure.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I know you've got a busy summer that you have right now and getting ready for college and everything, but first of all, let's talk a little bit about your article in Sports Locker, and I
Yeah.
am going to pull it up here real quick, and we get to see that awesome young lady right there and all the great photography and I'm not sure quite how you did that with kicking the ball up there, but um, yeah, I think I might have pulled something. I don't know. But you, in your article, we titled that "Triple Threat." Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you think that we came up with that title and um, why it represents the nature of the three sports that you competed in?
Yeah. I think it was a fantastic title when it came out. I was like, oh, that has a nice little ring
Yeah,
to
cool.
it.
I'll just have to be
But
honest. I did not come up with it, so there we go.
but yeah, I mean, for me, the title is just representing everything I do. So I compete in soccer, cross country, and track. And so that keeps me busy all year long, which I really enjoy because the competitive aspect kind of gives me a little mental break from school and just allows me to relieve my stress from all that, but still, keep my body healthy and doing something I really enjoy.
Talking about that, okay, so you've graduated now, and
Yes.
we talked a little bit before we came on the interview, and I just asked if you were taking it a little bit easy getting ready for soccer, but no, what are you doing?
No, I'm not. I am still kind of in my routine of going to the morning cross country practices, which makes it really easy because I have a little sister who is kind of following in my footsteps and doing cross country as well. So I get to go to practice with my old team, which is nice to see them again. But additionally, after that, I also do my Drury College soccer workout, which consists of more running, touches on the ball, and lifting.
Okay.
So that's also cool. And then the final part is I'm on a club team for the summer. It's a WPSL called River City,
Hmm.
which I am super grateful is local because, as we'll probably mention later, I used to travel all the way to St. Louis to
Mm.
play. So it is nice that we get to practice here 2 times a week and then get to play games as well to keep me, in the routine and just competitive.
Yes, you are keeping competitive, you are keeping busy. I wanted you to highlight real quick, you had mentioned also that have some foreign exchange students that are,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my family has hosted about four foreign exchange students now. And this one that we currently have, her name is Ellen. She's from Sweden. And it is a fantastic opportunity because she also gets to play on the same River City team as
Good.
me. So we get to, go to practice together and games. And it was really cool because the first scrimmage we ever had, I took the ball all the way to the end and crossed it, knowing Ellen was there, and she shot and scored the very first goal
Well,
of
that's
our
awesome.
team. So yeah, I
Yeah.
gave her a big hug. It's practically like we were sisters.
Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. Uh, there's going to be a whole bunch of more cool stuff that we're going to cover tonight, but I also want to give the opportunity that anybody that is watching, if you want to make any cool comments about Danielle or have any cool questions that you want to ask her, feel free to do that. We will include that in on the program, and she will not be afraid to answer those questions. I promise you, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No,
Now,
definitely not.
or we can also ask mom and dad, if they're watching, if they want to bring up anything that they think we should all know. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh boy.
We'll get into that at the speed round.
Alrighty.
So, Danielle, where did you get the motivation and just the drive to just compete at such a high level?
I would honestly have to say that it comes just from deep down inside of me. I've always had a competitive spirit since I was little with my sisters. We would always wrestle to see, who was the strongest, who was the best, or whenever we would play soccer, it was who can score on each other. So the competitiveness, just comes ever since I was little. But I am very grateful for like my coaches and teammates and parents definitely for giving me the opportunity to go to practice, and then my coaches for having all the drills set up in order to push me to be at this high level that I am.
Yes, speaking about high level, Joyce Bremer, she came on here and said, courageous like her mama. So thank you, Joyce. That's awesome. So, all right. So we'll just have to ask, what's that mean? Courageous like mama. What's that mean?
Oh my gosh, my mom she's a doer. Anything that needs to be done, she will do, no questions, and she doesn't complain about it. So she is the strongest woman I know. Like my mom would take me to soccer practice in St. Louis every single time after she would just get off from work and honestly still have work, which I never understand because she would work from like 9 to 5. And I'm like, how do you still have stuff? But she just did it all and never complained. And a lot of the time she would have like back problem, or currently she has like a broken rib, but she
Mm,
still, to this day will do anything that we need and doesn't complain about it.
okay, there you go. Joyce, I will agree with you. Definitely courageous. So that
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot going on right there. And why don't you share real quick about her going to the cross country races when she first? When you were sharing with me, I thought that was pretty funny. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was always a runner. I would run to like the lake that my grandma has and back up to her house, which is probably like a mile and a half in flip-flops. And my mom would always be like, "You're crazy. Like, why are you doing that?" My mom loves to say she banked all of her athletic abilities for her children, which is true. But yeah, so my mom never really did any sports, but I was in fourth grade, and my best friend, Avery Massman, got me started in a cross country because she was doing it. And I wanted to, stay friends and just be like her. And her parents had run in high school and got college offers for us. So they knew everything about it.
Mhm.
And they took me to the first cross country race. And my mom shows up with a chair and she puts it right at the finish line. And my friend's parents go, Stephanie, what are you doing? And she goes, I'm going to sit here and watch Danielle run. And they just laugh at her and they're like, no, you're not. You have to run with her. And my mom just gives this shocked look. She's like, what kind of sport is this?
Yeah. I would
Because
have
she's
to
so
agree
used to
with your mom.
soccer.
Yeah, I would have to agree with your mom. I mean, at least, put a wide screen up there with somebody that's following you, and then I can watch it up that way. Sitting, that would be
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah. So I would agree with her, but at least she was out there being supportive, whether she wanted to run along with you or not. Right?
I definitely agree. Yeah, she supports me in
Okay.
every sport.
That's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your mom? What are some of the different things that you picked up picked up from her, and what you've appreciated about her?
I mean, we don't have time to go over everything because she just does so much for me. But to begin, I mean, my mom, anything I need at all, she will help me out, no question about it. So
Mhm.
I love that aspect of her. And just like her and the rest of my family, like they're so supportive in every single way. And no matter what happens, I really appreciate that they love me no matter what.
Mhm.
But specifically, my mom goes above and beyond and will take me to practice, like I mentioned. And it's kind of crazy because I will go from like cross country practice and she will meet me at Helias because she knows I can't, waste time driving in order to get to my soccer practice on time.
Uh-huh.
So she takes off work early and will meet me at Helias in order for us to go. And then on top of that, she plans so far ahead that she will pack a dinner for me, which is always like warm and healthy. So we don't have
Mhm.
to make a stop and I'm still able to eat nutritious and get the right fuel I need to go up to practice. So,
That's great. Well,
yeah.
speaking of that, since you brought it up, she was very prepared in helping you again with this photo shoot that we had. I mean, she had all of your stuff ready to go and was helping you get
Hmm.
switched out for all the different photos. And
Yeah.
she did an awesome job helping us do that. So we appreciate that stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, she was probably a little tired carrying around all the medals that she was carrying around, of yours. And I mean, and that was just a portion of what you got up behind you back there. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very good. So tell us a little bit about your dad. What do you appreciate about him, and what are some of the things that you picked up from your dad?
Yeah. So my dad will, whenever I'm not able to go to practice, he is definitely I like to call him like practice dummy. So when it was COVID and there was no practices around and I couldn't really, encounter anybody else, I would make him go to my neighbor's yard, which is flat. So we would kind of like make it a field and I would just take him on one pretty much until he would fall on the ground, which is I always enjoy, but he would get right back up and act like it never happened. He would look
Oh
around
my
hoping none of
goodness,
our neighbors would see. But and then
Jeff, Jeff, you are the man. I mean, your daughter just said you were like her practice dummy, and she literally was firing stuff at you. You are my hero right now. So
yeah.
good dad, good dad.
He would always tell me that if I was playing a team of 50-year-old men whenever I get back from COVID, then he would definitely be there to support, but probably not be on the team. And he said you could whoop every single one.
That's right, absolutely. Well, Danielle, we got a comment from Daniel, and he said, "You are an impressive young athlete." So
Thank
thank you,
you.
Daniel. That's great. All right. Okay, so we talked a little bit about dad. Now let's go ahead and talk about you got an older sister and a younger sister. Why don't you talk about them?
Hmm. Yeah, so my older sister is 20 and she's at college at Mizzou right now. And then my younger sister, Meredith, she's 14 and she's about to enter her freshman year at Helias as well. So I love my sisters. They're just the best because they always are there for me and are the first to give me a big hug after a game and always there to, you know, make me competitive because they always want to wrestle me or whatnot. And I have to give a big shout out to my older sister because without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. She had to, be the little guinea pig and endure all the sports first and go through school first. So I have to say that I did look up to her and would not be here because I definitely started to follow in her footsteps.
That's great. What do you want to pass along to Meredith? What are some of the things that you wanted to pass along to her?
So my little sister's a little different than me, which I'm super glad because she's into more like robotics and she loves to
Hmm.
read and loves to take care of animals. So I would just love to say, like, keep being you
Uh-huh.
because you're amazing the way you are. Like, I know I set the bar high, but do not have to feel like you follow in my footsteps because you are your own person and you're amazing just the way you are.
And I would say, Meredith, with that robotics background and those things that you do there, help your dad out. Would you build something that your sister Danielle can use as a practice dummy instead of your dad? I mean, he would probably appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the transitions from sport to sport and how each had its own unique set of training programs and challenges? What was difficult in that transition?
I would say definitely just timing because as I kind of mentioned, I would go in the fall, go to cross country practice right after school and try to just get as much running as I could be, whether it was a long run or sprint workout done. But I would really try to push myself and just do whatever the coaches had asked as much as I could before my mom would get there and drive me all the way to St. Louis. And a lot of the times, like, I wouldn't even have time to stretch with the team. So I would kind of have to do that in the car. So that was definitely a big challenge, just keeping myself healthy while riding an hour and a half up there in a car. And then after being in a car and kind of stiffening up, it was definitely challenging to get, right out of the car and go do another sport.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely. And you probably, especially with what you were doing, you really needed to keep hydrated. How much water did you typically go through a day? I mean, I know there's a
goodness.
normal average, but I'm thinking you probably went above that.
Yeah, so I would always carry like a decent sized water bottle to school with me because I knew I would need it for every class, and I would fill that up at least 4 times a day, if not
Hmm.
more, just kinda depending on if I had a race, like, 2 days from now or game tomorrow,
Hmm.
so, yeah, it was crazy.
Okay. I mean, if you are a runner, I am almost sure, and obviously with soccer, you running, you've had
Mhm.
cramps at different times, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
What's the worst you ever had? What's the worst cramping you ever had?
It would have to be, like, my sophomore and junior year of high school soccer, which I never really understood because I felt like I was doing a lot more with cross country and club soccer, but for some reason, whenever I was at high school soccer, like, playing the full 90 minutes of a game, if we had to go into overtime, like, the last minute of regular time, my calves would just cramp up to the point
Mm.
where I couldn't walk, and I would have to like try and stretch them out before it got too bad. But once we hit overtime, it was like I just I could not. Like it was so tight. I was trying to run for a ball and just it was
It
horrible.
it does not feel good at all, does it? No.
Mm-mm, no,
Alright,
and
so
they would. I
go ahead.
remember one time it cramped up so bad I had to like come off, and I had my teammate rolling out my leg, and all of a sudden it just went flat, and I
Mm.
freaked out. I was like, "What just happened?"
Wow.
But yeah.
So did you recover pretty good, after that? I mean, pretty quickly or
It took me like an hour after games. I mean, I would definitely finish the games in
Mhm.
a lot of pain, but yeah, about an hour after, I mean, I fully recovered, but my calves would still be super tight and cramping, so I would have to
Yeah.
like put my legs up against the wall for about 20 minutes just to kind of
Mhm.
get that lactic acid flowing. But
Yes. Okay, so I have to share my one time. Well, I had many times where that happened, but my worst one that ever happened, it was after a track meet, and I was at home laying on the floor watching some TV, and then all of a sudden I got a cramp in my hamstring, and I went to move my leg, and then at the same time I got a cramp on my quad. So I
oh
had one on the back, one on the front, and then when I tried to straighten that out, I had one hit my calf at the same time. And at that moment,
god.
I just yelled out, "Mom!" That's all I could
Yeah.
do. That's all I couldn't do nothing. I was just writhing on the floor in pain and obviously
Oh
was not
gosh.
drinking enough water and didn't stretch good
Mm,
enough. So,
that is
yes.
miserable.
Yeah, I had never wanted to have that happen again. So, yeah.
Wow.
That was my one highlight reel for cramping.
Whew.
Bad stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah. What have you enjoyed most about your time at Helias Catholic?
I would have to say definitely the faith-based is something that sets Helias apart from all other schools, and it's really what kinda brought me in and truly I loved about Helias because if I was, having a bad day or just wanted to talk to God before a game or something, I was able to just go in the chapel and all the teachers were definitely okay with it. But additionally, I mean, that's another great thing about Helias is that the teachers were super like helpful whenever you would need anything, whether it was on homework or just, I mean, mentally. So that was really awesome. And I mean, the community itself is also fantastic. I definitely have to say, like, once a Crusader, always a Crusader, and it
Uh-huh.
shows.
Yeah. And there's one person that I work with a lot over there at Helias Catholic, and that's Susie Rockers, and she's awesome. She is
Yes.
awesome. And she
And
was
she's
just,
always smiling.
yes, always smiling, and she's always talking you guys up really good. I mean, it seems like everybody she's always saying, "Oh, they're such a great person," and not just a great person, great student athlete, they're just a great person, and she just
Mhm.
goes on and on. But she was definitely saying that about you. So,
Oh,
yeah, it was I really appreciate her, and she is a very big help in getting everything together with you guys. So,
right.
Danielle, you have done an outstanding job so far. We're halfway through, so why don't we go ahead and take a quick sponsor break, and we will be back in just a moment, okay?
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Business Services has been connecting employees with employers since 1977. Recently, CNS rebranded to CNS Employment Solutions to more clearly define their mission of serving the needs of applicants, employees, and businesses while remaining current and evolving with the changes in the workforce. One important thing has not changed. CNS Employment Solutions partners with a wide variety of employers, placing employees in jobs that match their skills and needs.
Say yes to CNS.
All right, CNS Bit Employment Solutions. See, I'm going to get that right yet. I told Paula the other day when I was talking to her, I was like, I know that it's hard for you guys to talk about the rebranding, but you're making it especially difficult on me. That's all I've ever known. So, CNS Employment Solutions, they do an outstanding job right here in Mid Missouri, making sure that people get lined up with the right job for them, as well as the employer getting the right talent brought into their businesses. So, Paula and her team, they do an outstanding job, not only with that, but also in our community as far as community service. If you know somebody that needs a job, make sure that you get them hooked up with CNS Employment Solutions, and they will get that taken care of. Also, I wanted to mention real quick, we have another sponsor that we have in the magazine that features coaches of the issue. And we have Big Whiskeys. They've been doing that for us. And I want to show here real quick. Coach Jacob White out there at New Bloomfield. That is the coach of this past issue, May, June. And he's an outstanding man. He's getting ready to get married here pretty soon. And so excited for him with that. I think it's in July. He's going to be getting married. So we appreciate Big Whiskeys and supporting also the coaches who play such an important part in the development of our student athletes. So we just want to say thank you to CNS Employment Solutions as well as Big Whiskeys. All right, let's get back to Danielle. All right, Danielle. As I said, outstanding job. And we had somebody else come on here, Roxanne Back Sargent said, "Go Danielle." So there you go. You got people cheering for you. And
Awesome.
we've got another one coming right here. Danielle, you are amazing from Janelle Joe Matthews Boxberger. So
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
you know, a lot of times I tell people like, this is your life. This is just people are just pouring out on you and just lifting you up and all these nice things that they're saying. You get to go back and it's recorded. So if you have a down day, you can say, I just want to pull that up again. I remember when they said that.
Oh, yeah, that's
Or
good.
or if somebody has not been so nice to you on a particular day, you can pull this back up and say, remember when you said that. Remember that. But I am sure they're always nice to you, so we won't even
Oh,
have to worry
for
about
sure.
that.
And
All
my
right.
mom. They're a bunch of my mom's friend, which is great
Yeah,
because they're super supportive to her and me. So,
that's wonderful. Very good. Uh, in your article, you talked about a number of accomplishments that you had, and in one of your photos, you had all of those medals around your neck. Talk to us about your academic and athletic accomplishments that you're most proud of.
right. So, I believe that academics come first. So, that's what I'm going to start with.
Okay.
So, academically, I mean, I am blessed to say that I finished with a 3.98, And the only class that I got a B in, which I will always remember, is dual credit chemistry, which was hard definitely at first, but it did teach me a ton and showing that, I mean, I need to put in the work, but I also need to push myself to figure out kind of where my limits are. And then knowing that those aren't actually limits, I can overcome them with just a whole bunch of work and practice. So I'm glad to say that I have definitely pushed myself to take a bunch of dual credit classes. So I'm ready for college.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's great. And before you go on to the athletic part, I had a teacher in biology when I was in high school. I think it was a sophomore, and he had us memorize 100 birds and what they looked like
Oof.
and where their climate was. So,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
pretty much our entire class, the first semester, pretty much the entire class either had a failing or a D in that class. But
Goodness.
it did push everybody. And then by the time we all got done, I think for the most part, everybody got to B's and A's. So it's those
Good.
teachers you're like, are you kidding me? Come on, show some love here. But
Right.
they are by challenging us. So that's good.
Hmm.
All
Yeah.
right.
No, it was definitely good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's going to be able to help you on down the road too, because you will be able to use those skills that you learned as far as pushing through and gaining that knowledge. So that'll be good. All
Yeah.
right, now tell us about athletically. What are some of those things that you're most proud of?
I mean, I feel like athletically, I'm just proud of all accomplishments. It just shows like all the medals that I have just tell a story of all the hard work I've put in and how it's, come out successful. But specifically, I would like to highlight this year because I feel like it's just been like the best year athletically for me. And that is because I finished with 2 district championships with the help of my team. So, both in soccer and track this year, which was amazing to finish on. And then individually, I was awarded first team all district, all conference, and all state in soccer, which I could not be more proud of.
That's
And
awesome.
just blessed to say that all of the hard work I've put in at practice and just off, especially, has paid off and shown through. But yet I still know there's more because I am super excited to say that I have committed to Drury to play soccer.
All right.
So I am ready to push myself even more.
Yeah. We got to remember to throw your dad back in there a little bit. He helped get you there as far as being that again, the practice dummy out there in the field getting drilled. So we got to
Hmm.
lift up dad again. All right.
Exactly.
Well, you just transitioned right into what my next question was going to be. You are going to go to Drury University and you're going to play soccer and you're also studying business. Is that what you said?
I am,
Okay,
yes.
why don't you tell us a little bit about both of those and what made you decide that Drury was the place that you wanted to go and be one of the Panthers there?
Yeah. So, my recruiting process for soccer, I knew I wanted to play soccer ever since I was little. So, whenever I got to my junior year, I was starting to really talk to coaches and kind of figure out where I wanted to go and what would kind of fit my degree, which was nice that I had already decided business. So, that was kind of a little easier, it wasn't so specific. But for the recruiting process, I was talking to coaches all over, everywhere from like Pennsylvania to here, and kind of looking at their schools to see if I kind of fit with it. But how I chose Drury, I was at this soccer camp for Missouri State, and it was the third day. So I was like, okay, all the coaches who have like wanted me have already seen me, and those are the ones I was already talking to. So, okay, I'm just gonna, have fun and enjoy my last day of camp here. So I was just kind of schooling girls and taking all the shots I could and trying to put
Mhm.
them in the back of the net. And next thing I know, this coach comes up to me and he's like, "Hello, my name is Justin Olson and I'm from Drury University." And he asked if I was interested in his college and like playing for him. And I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Like I hadn't really, you know, looked too much into it before then, but that day, I ended up going to tour just around the campus,
Mhm.
driving, and I enjoyed just the feel of it as soon as I got there.
Mhm.
I was like, it just feels close and safe and somewhere I could see myself the next 4 years. And then I looked into it a little bit more and I was like, okay, their business program's phenomenal. Like they're just built a new building. So that's exactly what I'm
Mhm.
wanting. And then I talked to a bunch of like the kids on campus and it just felt so like close and people like-minded like me. And the best thing about it was like it's super small, so for me I get to be like not just overlooked like some big lecture hall. So I'm super excited that it'll be that. And just the best part is that the coach wanted me because I wanted
Mhm.
a coach that, saw something special in me and was, willing to give me a shot instead of
Yeah.
me like begging to play. So,
Well, good. That's great. Speaking of great, Caitlin says that she is so proud of you. So
aw.
thank you for commenting, Caitlin. Appreciate that. All right, so you're doing so good. You're just transitioning into my next question. So talk to us about coaches. Um, high school coach and as well as your club coach. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how they've impacted you?
So, I mean, I feel like I have to start from the very beginning,
You go right
but
ahead.
okay. So, whenever I was young, I mean, my first coach was my dad, which I'm super grateful for because he just created this absolute love for this game by making us play this game called Sharks and Minnows and just making soccer fun instead of something you have to do or work or whatnot. So, along with my best friend's dad, Avery Massman, her dad, Travis Massman, they kind of coached us just to have fun and enjoy the game and learn the rules. But yeah, we ended up being pretty successful, beating every team at the Y. I mean, just as 5-year-olds, but we were all competitive, so it meant a lot. But one time we played this other team, and afterwards the coach came over and he's like, I have this idea to start a club team, and I was wondering if I could take your girls and his girls and make one team. My dad was like, yeah, I can't coach at a higher level. I don't know anything about soccer. I mean, he was a wrestler and football player. So he was like, yeah, go for it. I don't know who you are, but take a chance. And that so that was Jay Hebenheimer, and he basically took us all the way from third grade until sixth grade
Mhm.
and coached us on everything. He also made the game fun. And I remember after every tournament that we would win, he would like give us a little bet, and it would be like one time we got to dress him up like a diva queen, and another we got to shave his head. So that just really motivated us even more to want
Uh-huh.
to win, and we ended up being very successful there. But then he transferred to high school, so we got a new coach, George and Alan, and they truly like took us to a whole new level and prepared us for high school. So I got to
Mhm.
say thank you to them for that. And by that time, I was in high school. And so that was, just the coaches there have worked on me and pushed me to be the best. And I am super grateful that I have moved on to a St. Louis team because I know that the level up there is super competitive and just pushes you to get ready for college and helps you kind of find coaches that would be a right fit for you. So my coach up there, Jason Weiland, actually went to Drury. Ironically, he didn't know that while I was talking to the coach, but it's just kind of fun and funny that I ended up going there. So, but yeah. And then I have to give a final shout out to Coach Deshay, who took
Mhm.
us over this year and for just pushing us all the way to a district championship because there's no better way to go out than, on top.
Yeah.
And especially because he was the one who now started that WPSL team called River City.
Mhm.
So it's very nice for me, especially so I don't have to travel to St. Louis and waste that time when I could be, driving 15 minutes and use the extra hour and 15 to get some more practice in. So,
Well, John Deshay. He's a good man. I've known him for a long time, and you have to ask him about the time that we cast him in the role to play Jesus in a play that we wrote. So you'll have to ask him about that.
Okay.
and he did a really good job. So he doesn't have the
Interesting.
hair for it right now, but he did a really good job.
Yeah.
All right. We had Kathy said, "Good job, Danielle," and then she said, "And me." Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you for telling me because sometimes I just feel like a total goofball on here, and so I appreciate you saying that. These guys make it very easy, and tonight, Danielle, you're making it very easy. I want to bring on another comment here from Jim Marshall. He said he watched you
Aw.
run in most of your cross country races this fall, and she and my granddaughter had great battles. Okay. Then I saw her in soccer as my granddaughter played for Cap City. Danielle is a tough, tough, tough competitor. So thank you, Jim. Appreciate that
Yeah,
comment.
thank you.
And then Travis said, "Way to go, Danny." He said, "Way to go, Danny." So there you go.
Thank you, second dad.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then we've got Jim Shaft says, "Danny
Ooh.
is such an amazing player. We love her in St. Louis." All
Aw.
right. Yeah. So those are, people are commenting. You are well loved. You are well loved, and people appreciate your talent. Travis comes and says, "Danny is the most determined person I know. So proud of you." And I'm already knowing right now that you said that your dad wrestled, and so I'm gonna have to come back to that real quick here because
Okay.
you talked about wrestling your sisters. Did you ever wrestle and beat your dad?
I did wrestle him, but he is at least twice my size,
Okay.
so
Okay.
there's just, no advantage there, but there has gotten to points where he's gotten a little red in the face. He won't show that I'm beating him,
Okay.
but
Okay. Okay.
he figures out a maneuver to flip me back around, but
Yeah.
it's good to release some energy and, you
Uh-huh.
know, keep
So
that fight.
my 13-year-old granddaughter, she my son-in-law, he likes to roughhouse with the kids, and she was taking jujitsu, and I
Ooh.
think he learned very quickly that he probably shouldn't do that with her anymore because she'll take him down.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you got to watch it.
I
You
will
got to
tell you.
watch it, dads.
Yep, but I will tell you, my sisters, like, my older sister will comment, she's just like, "I remember when you were little and I used to beat you up. Now I don't wanna fight you."
Uh-huh. Absolutely. My granddaughter and two oldest grandsons were at a church camp here this last week, and some boy was there, and he was not being very friendly to any of the kids, and he was wanting to challenge Audrey and to a fight and beat her up, and her brother was like, "No, you probably don't want to do that," and then one of the other kids said, "No, I'm telling you, you probably don't want to do that." And
That's
so, like,
awesome.
church camp, what is going on at church camp?
Right?
Yeah, come on, people. Let's get it right.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So you talked about your coaches, and I want to ask you one other thing too about your high school experience. Is there anything that you would have done differently, whether academically, athletically, or
Mm,
just as a leader?
not necessarily, I mean, I'm pretty, like, you live and you learn kinda thing, so
Mhm.
everything I feel like happened for a reason, and I'm pretty, satisfied with the outcome, and if not, I'm gonna make the differences I wanna make in college. So,
Very
and
good.
that's just, starting early, just never being satisfied and
Mhm.
pushing myself.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad you were able to do that. And also, I am sure that that applies with this. Again, you're just helping me transition into these questions. I'm sure that that applies with what your family does during the winter time, during Christmas time. You guys are active in the community. Tell us about the Capital City Festival of Lights. And I mean,
Yeah,
you started, and then I mean, it's like boom, it's big now. Tell us about
I
all that.
know. It was crazy. So, my dad came to me with this idea 6 years ago, I believe, that he wanted to start something for our community to help raise money for homemaker healthcare, but as well as other local organizations. And he wanted something new, not just like every other fundraiser 5K. And I was like, okay. So then he comes up with this light park show during Christmas. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, that sounds like a really good idea. Like, I would definitely be on board, other than the fact that it's cold and I don't like the cold. But I was all in. I mean, I know he supports me. So I was like, yeah, your idea. Let's
Yeah.
make it happen. So I definitely was trying to do as much as I could. And that first year, we picked out a spot on where we were going to put it, which is at Binder. And then every day after school in 7th grade, I still remember coming home and hand stringing lights on different displays and like putting the caps on to make different colors. And it was just weird because we had all these Christmas displays in our basement in mid-March, and Christmas wasn't for a while. So I was like, okay, if you think
Yeah.
it's going to take this long. But yeah, so that was super cool. And I mean, throughout the process, it was just like, here we go. Like, we are getting into this. Nobody's done it before. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're going to make it happen because I love my family. Anything we set our minds to, we will accomplish. And I mean, no matter how good or how it turns out, it's going to be done. So we worked that entire summer. And then come that November, when it started to get cold, we put the displays up and just kind of wired them all out. Just pretty much every day that we were available, we would do that. And then boom, the whole like light show came together. And I think we had about 60 cars that year. And every day we would stand out at the end and hand out candy canes to people, which was super fun. But we're like, okay, I mean, this is incredible. Like, we brought smiles to every car in the community and just a joy during that Christmas season. But then, even more importantly, we were helping those in need. So that was just an incredible feeling. So, yeah, then we're like, well, we definitely want to build on this and see how big it can get. So, we did the same thing next year. I mean, got some more displays and did some more by hand. So made it even bigger, and then it just kept building. And now this past year, I don't know the numbers, but it nearly like quadrupled, if not more. So it has become very big, and which is a great, accomplishment to just see how we started and then how we are. And we definitely hope to continue to grow, and I hope everybody also enjoys it because it truly does go to a good cause.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the good cause and what takes place there, if you would, please?
Yeah, so it originally started just going to like Homemaker Healthcare, which is a non-for-profit that helps provide equipment such as wheelchairs, crutches, canes, bedside commodes, and like we deliver those to people who need them, or they can come pick it up if they'd like. But we just give it to them for free, so they don't have to, buy one, and just for the time they need. And then when they're done, they return it so we can continue the cycle and give it to all those who just need a little extra help and support. But then we also know that our community has helped that program, and so we want to give back. So we also have given some to like Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's a great organization there, Special Learning Center, and just other local groups that kind of help out. So I know FFA has helped us a little, so we give them a small portion, and like Dance Moms and all of them came out one time. So
Yeah,
yeah, it just
that's good.
circles all around, which is
Yeah,
fantastic to see. And I mean, the
yeah,
best part is everybody just enjoys seeing the lights. It's something new in the community that was never there before, so it brings a little joy during the Christmas season.
yeah. Yeah, and you guys do an outstanding job with that, and always hear great things about what you all do out there, and not just again for the entertainment part of it, but for the community. So thank you guys for everything that you do there, and I know that there's a lot of hard work that's being put in there. I can't tell you how many times I saw your dad out there fixing things and
Mm-hmm.
putting stuff up there, and so again, great job. Great job.
Thank you.
But I think the
Yeah.
real question is, are you going to have a bunch of Christmas lights on your house when you get your own house?
Ooh, as long as my dad's there to help me.
Okay, okay, all right, that works. Okay, we got one more question, and we'll quickly do a speed round because we have some things I want to get there. But you mentioned that soccer was your favorite sport due to the creative aspects of the game. Tell us about the creative aspects of the game.
I really enjoy how every game is different, meaning like there's no one game that's going to be exactly the same, no play, no moment even that becomes exactly the same. And there's like, for me, it's great because there's no like set plays in soccer like there are in basketball or football. So I just absolutely fell in love with soccer because I get to be, the maker and creator of the game, and I get to figure out like, oh, I'm going to do a Maradona here, like, make this curving run or straight run and call for a through ball. So
Mm-hmm.
it is just super amazing. And there's different ways that you can like confuse defenders because you're like, oh, I'm going to go this way and then cut the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, you probably like to make people look silly out on the pitch. You probably will have specific moves. People are falling
mhm,
down on the ground, and yeah, I can see it now, Danielle. I can see it now. So that's why they call it the beautiful game, I think, because of the creativity, right?
exactly.
Okay, very
Yeah.
good. Well, you have done an outstanding job, but we must know a few things and just a few quick questions in the speed round. So,
Yeah, go for
what
it.
is your go-to snack or meal after you have had either a long soccer practice or game, or say for instance, travel to St. Louis or cross country? What is the go-to meal that you're like, I would just love to have that,
Okay, so I don't know that it's necessarily a meal, but
or
it's a
snack
drink.
or
It's a
drink?
drink.
Okay.
Okay, so I love milk, which some people are like, ew, but like for me, that is just what fuels me. And all my teammates are probably laughing at me right now because I order it whenever we would go out to eat. Or the best memory that I have of this was after a game, we went to a convenience store and coach was like, okay, you guys get $10 to spend on whatever snacks you want. And I come out with a half gallon of white milk and a half gallon of chocolate milk. And my
That's
friends are like,
funny.
what are you doing?
Well, that's great because let's see. Lucy said Mr. Cray says milk, so that was already an answer coming up. So that's
Yep.
awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we got that. Now I want to ask another question. If there's any place in the world that you could go or like be transported to, boom, just there, where would that be and why?
Ooh, I would say, I mean, any soccer playing country, but aside from soccer, Bonaire.
Okay.
And it's a small little island. And the reason I chose there is because I went there last summer and I did a whole bunch of kite surfing. And
Oh,
that nearly gave me the thrill that I have during soccer. Just the athleticism it took, but the being on the water
hmm.
and just, oh, it was so cool.
Hey, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that one. So yes, I'm sure it's awesome.
Hmm.
Same thing as jumping out of an airplane. No, thank you.
Yeah,
You probably will do that someday, won't you?
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's so. Yep. It's that's for other people. I'm just going to say that. Okay. Let's see. If you were to compare yourself to a superhero on the soccer field, which one would that be and why?
Like Marvel superhero or
Yes,
just
that'll
any?
work. Any of them. Any
Okay.
of them.
Well, I don't really watch Marvel. One, I
Hmm.
don't have time, and so
No,
I
you
just
don't.
don't. No. But I would say like let's just put soccer players in general. To compare myself, um I there's so many, but probably either Becky Sauerburn or Julie Ertz. And
Okay.
I feel like I compare to Becky Sauerburn whenever I was a center back, and she's just super solid. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
super sad that she is out for the World Cup right now, so very disappointed in that. But I mean,
Hmm.
she's a great team leader and just controls that back line like I feel like I've always done. But then up top, Julie Ertz, and like in the midfield, she's able to just keep the ball, body it off, and lay off passes and be creative. So she's definitely what I
Okay.
inspire to be and feel like I am on the path too.
Well, very good. That is That is awesome, and I'm sure you're going to get there. And we look forward to talking with you as you are playing professional soccer. We'll look forward to doing that someday. Get to do
Yeah,
that, even maybe even
so
while you're at Drury. We want to make sure we catch up with you while you're there. All right. And so let's see. The final question. I had a good one and I just lost it a minute ago, but it is a good one and it is gone. It
Uh-oh.
is absolutely gone. What would what would you say to somebody that can't remember a question that he had just a few seconds ago? What would you say to that person?
Hmm. I have that happen all the time. So I would just say breathe. And if it doesn't, then, move on. It'll come back to you later. Just send me a
Okay.
text and maybe I'll answer it through that.
We are going to
But
do that. We are going to do that. You are so gracious and
perfect.
kind. Thank you for saving me on that one. So that's good. All right.
And
Hey,
then
Dan, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, if not, just, move on and hope the other person has something to say. So, like, I feel the final thing for me is I just want to say thank you to everyone for all of the support and everything that you give me and all of the views that are here today. I especially would like to thank my uncle, who I didn't get to mention, because he like lets us stay at his house in St. Louis whenever we have an early game. My uncle Scott is just always the first one to text me after a big game or whatnot. So definitely thanks to him, and thank you to everybody else who's always supported me or my family. So,
Yeah. So you did good because that was going to be the next thing I was going to ask you. Again, you're just writing this interview. That's great. That's
oh my
amazing.
gosh.
But I did remember what the question was.
Okay.
So, what is the one chore around the house that you cannot stand to do?
Mhm. I'm not a fan of like all of them, but I would say definitely anything to do with like picking up dog poop, which has been a
Oh yeah.
big problem right now
Mm-hmm.
because we have my older sister's dog with us,
Uh-huh.
and it's just a little puppy.
Yeah.
So you know what that means.
Yes, I do.
And
Yes,
not a
I
fan.
do. And I would agree. Not a fan of that myself. So, Danielle, you did fantastic. Thank you for being on here tonight. And if you'll hold on until after I close out the program, I'll visit with you just real briefly. But thank you so
Awesome.
much. We were very happy to
Yeah.
have you on here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for
All
having me.
right. Yeah, I'll be right back with you in just a moment. All right, we got done with a great interview with Danielle Buker. She graduated from Helias Catholic High School, and she is heading on to Drury University to play for the Panthers as well as study business there. Make sure that you keep up with the things that are going on with Danielle. You'll be impressed because we know that she's not stopping here. She's going to keep going. So we are so thankful for you joining us on the program tonight. And again, we just love being able to interview great young student athletes like Danielle Buker. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hope to see you next week. Until then, this is Kirk DeMars, and I will see you on One Nation, a Sports Locker Magazine Extra next week. God bless you.